This week on Cape Breton Fly Fishing, we're going to be tying Atlantic salmon patterns, blue charms, black bear, green butt, and the Undertaker. Stay tuned. Alright, so I'm going to start off tying a blue charm pattern for you on a size 8 Ahrex hook. So we're just going to start by putting the thread on the shank of the hook, right around the return eye. Come in with our scissors, and we'll trim that tag end away, and we'll wrap our thread on. And I'm just going to stop between the barb and the point of the hook. And we're going to put a tag on. And the tag is just an oval tinsel. Make sure my thread's waxed so we don't have any material slipping. So I catch that underneath the shank of the hook. Now let's come in and give it 3 or 4 turns. Like so. Bring my thread back. This is a great Atlantic salmon pattern. It's a wet fly, by the way, for those that don't know. Just tie it up here. Get some more wax on my thread. And we're going to get some yellow floss here. I usually don't fish Atlantic salmon that much, but my friends always tell me the slimmer the profile of this fly, the better. So I guess we'll have to wait and see this summer. Alright, we'll just give this a couple turns. Wax on our thread. Next we're going to get some golden pheasant crest. We're just looking for a relatively small one here, nothing too big, it's too small, nothing too big. Be a good size there, and we'll tie this in. Tie all this waist in as well. Come in and trim it. Get our rib material again, which is going to be the same as the butt of the fly, the silver oval. Try to catch that underneath the shank of the hook. And I'll put this out of the way. Now for the body, you can use dubbing if you'd like. You can use yarn. I'm just going to use black floss. Tie that in at the top, wind it down, bring our thread forward again, just got a little piece of waste here. Now we're going to wrap our body in. Making a couple turns up and down the shank of the hook, just building the body up. Like so. Make sure it's tied down good. Nothing worse when you're tying it, it'll slip and come undone. Remove this waist here. Now we're going to wrap our rib in. I'm going to keep my rib at an angle so I can get the same turns every time. Bring our thread back. Like I said, this is a pretty simple fly to tie. There's many variations of it. Different ways you can tie it. Now for the wing, I'm just going to use some gray squirrel. And if you don't have gray, you can use a natural color. I just want a little bit here, nothing too much. Measure that wing out. I just want it to meet the tail. I'll come in and I'll trim this waist away. Perfect. Now for the throat, I'm just going to use some barbs off a blue hen. Now just to build the head up, now you can use a thicker thread if you want to. I'm using just a 70 denier. If you want to use like a 140 or a 6/0, you can. Whip finisher. Then you just have to add your head cement and that's it. Like I said, it's a pretty good fly. I haven't really fished it a whole lot, but from what my friends who are die-hard Atlantic salmon fishermen say, the slimmer the body, the better the fly is. So, like I said, we'll wait and see this summer. So now we're going to be tying the black bear green butt on the same size hook as before. Let's put a thread base down. And we'll stop between the barb and the hook point, and we'll get some wax on our thread. And we're going to come in with a little tag, which is going to be the oval. Tie it off. Trim our waist away. Now for the butt, I'm just going to use a Glow Bright. You can use chenille, dubbing, like this fly here. I used some green chenille, and then, or sorry, green green dubbing on this fly. And this one here I used green chenille. But we use some Glow Bright for this one. Get my thread out of the way. It doesn't hurt to change it up anyway. I never fished it with a Glow Bright before, so we'll see how it goes this year. And you can use floss as well. Just building that butt end up. Come in, we'll tie it off. Now for the tail you can use red or black fibers off a saddle or a hen. In this case I'm going to use a black hen. Just looking for a good feather with lots of barbs. Come in, we'll tie that off. Some wax on our thread, and for the rib it's just silver oval tinsel as before. Try to catch that underneath the shank of the hook as best we can. The reason for that, it just makes for a smoother body. You're not getting no lumps in the fly. And for the body, it's just going to be a black floss again. So what I'm hearing about this fly, it's really good coming on dark time or an overcast day. This is a wet fly as well, so we'll just have to see how good this summer. Alright, we're going to start wrapping our body in. Bring our thread back. And we'll tie that off. Make sure that's tied down good. And the same with the rib, we'll just try to keep that rib at the same angle so we can get the equal turns. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can put a collar on this fly just by wrapping the black hen in, or you can put your black bear on first and then just strip some barbs off the hen saddle, which we'll do. The hen neck, sorry. So first we're just going to get some bear here. Brush the fluffs out, any under fur or anything that's in it. Now just measure that. You don't want it going past the tail, so that looks like a good length there. Come in, we'll tie loose, and then I'll just really crank down on it. And now what I'll do is, to get it to stand up off the body, I'll just take some wraps underneath, behind the wing rather. That'll keep it propped up off the body. Switch my vise around and I'll tie in the neck, or the throat, whatever you want to call it. Just trim this waste stuff away from the eye. Like I said, they're pretty simple flies to tie. You don't have to be too complicated. I will finish her here and like everyone says, on a dark coming on evening or an overcast day, especially in the Marguerite, they say this is the fly that will work great. But that's it. Alright, this is your A-Rex tying tip of the week. Now with the warmer weather coming and tying not so much in the hot seat right now, you want to store your materials and everything properly. So what I normally do is I usually have these little bins right here, and I'll dump a bunch of mothballs in them, and then I'll just label in the front right here what's in it, so I know for when it comes time to break out the vise in the winter, I'll know where all my materials are. They're stored properly, they're away from bugs. Also, I also use this little gadget here. I got everything labeled, like thread, tinsel, tools, yarn, and it's pretty cool to have. It'll make you more organized and a faster tire. So that's your A-Rex tying tip of the week. Alright, for my final fly, we're going to be tying the fly called the Undertaker. Same hook size, same thread. And again, I'm just going to stop between the barb and the hook point. For a tag this time though, I'm going to use a gold oval tinsel. Catch that underneath the shank of the hook. Most of these materials, you can pick them up at the North Shore Fly Shop in New Brunswick. Now for the floss, I'm going to use a green and a red. Wet that a little bit. And we'll tie that one off, trim it away. And just a plain red. You don't need like a Chinese red or anything. You can use it if you want. Trim away. Tidy up. For the rib, I'm just going to use that same gold oval tinsel. Uni-French, sorry. I know I was saying something wrong there. Now for the body, we're just going to use some peacock. Try to keep them the same length as you can, and be careful using peacock because it's very easy to break. And eventually I'll show you how to make a peacock rope if you don't know how. I'm going to wrap towards me. Make sure that's all tied down good. And then we'll just bring our rib in. Now for the wing, I'm just going to use black bear, but you can use squirrel, fox, whatever you have. Don't really need to brush this one out, so the length is the shank of the hook. For the throat, I'm just going to use another piece of that hen neck, just some saddle off of it, or barbs rather. Just tidy up now. And with our whip finisher. And like I said, if you want to use a thicker thread to build the head up better, you can. Just add some head cement and you're good to go. That's your fly. Alright, that's the flies for this week, and let's take a minute where you could talk about where you could fish these flies. Typically the Margaree, or you can fish them in the North River, Middle River, depending on the time of year. One of the things you want to make sure is that you pinch the barb down, because there's 0 barbs allowed on the hook, and especially in a scheduled run salmon river, so definitely make sure your barbs are pinched down. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.